everyone, and welcome on the new Coach Steve Academy Live Guide. I'm Corentin Guinez, driver for Simmercy, and today we are around the wet road Atlanta for the week 4 of the Falcon Test Sports Car Challenge. A low chance of wet, but yeah, it's still interesting to see how you could handle those conditions if it happens. So yeah, as usual, first I go with your lap, and then I give you the different details you have to know for this week, and we will include, of course, as usual, a look at Delta. So yep, let's get started. Alright everyone, so here we go for the lap around Road Atlanta, the wet Road Atlanta with the M4. So here comes the T1 pretty quickly after the start finish line. Very low distance, of course, because you come with a lot of speed from the last chicane. So for the wet, basically I will give you both point of view because of course there is a high chance of being dry. So I won't only talk about the wet. For the wet, I will brake pretty much the same as the about braking distance and braking reference. It's about maybe 2-3 meters, but I will brake almost at the same place than what I'm doing actually with the dry. Yeah, maybe I would brake when I'm getting past or when I'm getting on the same point from the end of the grass on the left if it was dry. But by the way, I'm going to brake maybe 2-3 meters before that. So basically I will just stay away from the left side. I won't basically drive on the white line, and same on the grass. Things I will make most likely on the dry, because it gives me a better angle to approach the T1. So as you can see, I will stay almost all the way. As you can see, I'm not touching the white line in the grass, of course. I will say most likely all the way to the outside in the first half of the corner until I'm reaching the sort of apex, because of course you are not really taking the apex in this condition. But yeah, just before having a look later into the corner, just having a look at Delta. So as you can see, I'm not braking that much actually. It's just about making sure I can slow down a bit the car. But yeah, I don't want to lose any rotation, because on the wet, it's very important to get the rotation, because if you have no front end, then it's just too difficult to carry the speed. So as you can see, lifting the throttle, getting on the brake, so around 56% peak, and then I'm slowly building up the momentum again on the exit. As you can see, I'm being quite gentle compared to others inputs. For example, out of the king, I will call it the king, I'm being much more aggressive. But out of this one, yeah, you need to make sure you really build slowly the momentum, because it's very easy to end up going sideways. out of the king, for example, the steering will be a bit earlier straight, I guess, but yeah, out of T1 you are still putting some steering to the right and stuff. So yeah, you cannot go full throttle, not like the dry conditions, for example. So yeah. So if you are looking at the T1, as you can see, I'm staying to the outside. I would be more to the inside if it was dry, of course. I will drop to fourth compared to a dry conditions, where I would use fifth gear. Actually, I would not drop to fourth. I think fourth is not so good because it's just, if you drop to fourth, it's just going to be really close to go up to fifth, if you know what I mean. Like it doesn't make any how to say that, it doesn't make it any better, I would say, if you use force. So yeah, but on the wet you are carrying less speed, of course, because it's wet, so you can easily drop to fourth. You don't need to stay with fifth, as you can see. Then even before I'm getting on the sort of apex, my wet apex, which look like in the middle of the track, I would say, I'm not going too deep on the inside because there is a chance that I'm getting into a very wet patch, and then yeah, I would lose all the grip. So yeah, as you can see, just off throttle, a bit of throttle, and then when I'm getting into the corner, as you can see, I'm getting into the a sort of tip. Like, as you can see, um you almost go downhill when you're heading into the T1. So yeah, when I'm getting into the downhill part, just going on throttle, trying to make sure I can open the steering as much as I can. So yeah, it's the main target, especially on the exit. Like if you are still putting too much steering angle, then it's really difficult to get out of the corner. Just going to try to not get too wide on the exit. It would be the same with the drive, because of course then you have this right one and then the left one, which basically prepare the king. So yeah, I would not get out of T1 too wide, because then of course it would make the left run very complicated, and then I have the king. So yeah, so middle of the track with fourth gear, of course, coming into the um, the braking zone for the king. Compared to the dry, I will try to like, it's pretty much the opposite. Like on the dry, I would try to get a run on the curb, because then once the curb is ending, I would just dive to the right and then get the curbing, just like that, like I did um on this replay. But yeah, on the dry I would go on the curb, and then I could carry more speed because I have less steering angle to put, and I could carry just basically more speed because of less steering angle and the corner being more open, I would say. But yeah, of course, on the wet I cannot do that, because if I'm braking on the curb, or just maybe touching the um the white line, I would just lose all of the grip and most likely maybe have a crash. So yeah, need to be really kind as well on the brake. You could brake harder, I guess, on the dry, because of course you don't have the wet. And yeah, just if you brake too hard in this one, especially in the wet conditions, it feels like you are losing all of the grip. So yeah, you have to be kind into this one. As you can see, I'm not braking too hard. It's pretty much like T1, I would say. It's around 50% or something. Just at the beginning, when I'm getting into the left, I'm braking around 15%. But then when the car is almost straight, I would say, like in this position, just a tiny bit straight, then I can just put a bit more brake. And then when I'm getting into the corner, I'm just releasing the brake, turning to the right, trying to make sure I'm not cutting too much on the inside, but at the same time, need to make sure I'm cutting enough, because then I don't want to end up going too wide on the exit of this kink. So as you can see, early on throttle, getting out of the corner, I'm just perfectly, I guess, in the perfect line, because as you can see, there is quite a margin to the left curb. So this means I can just basically go back closer to the curb, use a bit of dry. If I'm showing you this from the cockpit, like when you are getting in this part, like between the white line and this, like it looks a bit drier, I would say. So this is what you have to aim for before entering into the S's. So that's why getting a bit, exiting a bit tighter from the king, so then you can go back closer to the curb, then use the drier part of maybe a drier part of the track. So then you can stay on the left, then you can dive into the S's. So as you can see, getting up to fifth to get into the S's. I tried with fourth, but I think with fifth it gives you a bit more. It makes the car a bit more stable, I would say. So yeah, I think fifth when you are heading into the S's is quite good. So yeah, and about the drive for the this part of the track, I would basically this time maybe exit on the curb. Even if I think it still would be better to do what I did even on the dry. So yeah, if you can exit tight as well on the dry, even better because then this means you can have less steering angle and then you can still you can go with more power. So this means you can have more momentum. So yeah. Then as you can see, just managing the throttle, not trying to push full throttle because I will just most likely in the left turn lose the, um, the stability of the car. Then once you are getting past this left one, you can go full throttle for a few seconds, and then once you are um, getting close to the end of this curve, we'll just go up to fifth, release the throttle. Then you are not really don't touch the brake for the entry of the S's. Just make sure you can put the car into the corner, get the curb on the right side. Then you have to be patient until the car is gets back the grip, because when you are getting into this right one, the grip is on the front is not really there. I guess it's because we're using a bit of curb and because maybe we are a bit on the rubber part of the track. But yeah, somehow I still think it's the best way to get this one, especially with the M4. Maybe with the Porsche and maybe the AMG, I wouldn't choose the same line, but yeah, from a car maybe to another, maybe you can have a small differences on the racing line, but yeah, decided to go for that one. It worked out really nice with the M4. So yeah, so once I'm having the car gets back the grip, then I can go full throttle, get the curbing on the left, then go to the right early on braking. So basically, when the car is in the middle of the track, I will go on the brake. I will jump to fourth. I'm not going down to third, I think, for this left one. As you can see, trying to get as much um, curb and almost grass as I can on the left, because this is what actually gives me the rotation for the left one. Especially, I need a lot of rotation for that one because I want to avoid the very big curb on the exit of this one, because it's really slippery. So of course, if you end up going on the curb and you find and you're looking for some traction, it's going to be all over the place. You are going to lose a lot of time. So yeah, the main target will be to avoid um the curbing on the exit. So yeah, I mean it won't be the same of course with the dry, because I mean the racing line is going to be quite the same for the dry, because you're going to use the curb. You are going to use as well this curb on the left side, but yeah, of course, you will be able to go earlier on throttle, and of course almost full throttle, because you will be able to take this curb, and yeah, it makes sense because you don't have the issue of the traction with the dry. So yeah. Looking at Delta, I think from the entry of this one, I'm not braking too much. It's the same as the corners before. Just a bit of braking at the beginning when I'm not on the I'm in the middle of the track. So bit of braking. Then once I'm on the curb, I just try to not brake too much on the curb, because yeah, we know that braking on the curb when it's wet is not ideal. But yeah, then once I'm off the curb, almost off the curb, I can just go on the brake. So as you can see, just braking a bit quite a bit when I'm on the curb, but then once I'm off the curb, I stay on the brake. So yeah, just holding a bit the brake until I'm getting into the corner, and then on the exit, as you can see, just putting the right wheels on the very end of the curbing. But yeah, as you can see, the left wheels just stays away from the stay away from the curb and the yellow line as well, and the white line, because yeah, you have to keep at least two left wheels off the curb. So then we are going into the second part of the track, I guess, because then we have the very long stretch, which is not very tricky. Tricky, I would say, with the wet. So for the first of the two right-handers, basically for this one, just braking a bit before the 200. So for the dry, I would brake at the 200, but for the wet, I will brake just at maybe 205 or 210. So yeah, as you can see, for this one, braking around 76. So I'm just making sure I'm braking as much as I can when the car is straight. As you can see, I'm just braking on the normal line because it looks like between these and the white line, the track looks a bit more dry, I would say. So yeah, it's not a big it feels quite good actually. Maybe because the track is not fully wet, so I guess you can brake like that. But yeah, maybe if the track was fully wet, then it would be a bit harder to use that line. So you would need to brake a bit more to the right side or maybe in the middle. But yeah, so 205 going on the brake. There, as you can see, I'm not doing like the dry where I would just aim for the apex. I need to avoid it because, of course, there is a big chance to have some water on the curb. So yeah, I need to go a bit wider. So stay with force early on throttle, as you can see, just trying to um keep the car stable on throttle, because if I'm lifting everything, I will just lose the downforce, I guess. So yeah, if you lift too much, basically it's the big mistake you can do into this one, because by lifting too much, the car will just maybe spin a tiny bit, or maybe will have too much rotation, and then this is where it can get tricky. So yeah, by keeping the throttle, then this means you can maybe have a bit more downforce, and then the car can remain a bit more stable. As you can see, maybe I can show you what margin I'm taking from the inside. As you can see, I'm pretty much not going over this line. You can see on the track. So yeah, it can be a good reference if we are. Yeah, we can see it on the track, but yeah, it's a bit more difficult to see. But yeah, into the corner, going on throttle, of course, before going into the second right-hander, just avoiding the curb, of course, because yeah, main target is to avoid to brake on this curb, to lose the grip, and then have then you can compromise, of course, quite a lot the entry of the long straight. So yeah, just avoiding to brake on the curb, not braking late earlier compared to the dry, I guess. As soon as I'm having the car straight and close to the curb, or on the curb if you are on the dry, then I just go on the brake, dropping to third, and then heading into the corner, getting the curb even on the wet. You are not losing any grip, so I guess it's the way to go. Of course, I'm not really going deep on the inside, because then first it would make the car bounce a bit, because I think the shape of the curb makes the car a bit edgy, I would say. And yeah, because if I'm going too deep on the curb, then I will um have a longer time on the curb, especially on the wet, and then I will maybe have less grip at the end. So yeah, as you can see, just taking a bit of curb, but I'm really quickly back on the track, so then I can get the traction. Also, getting the curb on the inside means I can open the steering more quickly. So as you can see, the steering is almost fully open, I would say, with third. So this means I have overall more traction. Of course, exit of this one, I just try to avoid the yellow line, even if it doesn't feel too bad if you clip a bit of the yellow line, but yeah, it's still better if you can avoid both the curb and the yellow line, but yeah, just try to make the best to avoid those two things. And yeah, if I'm looking at the braking for the right hander just before, it was around 63%, maybe, yeah, maybe 65 peak. So yeah. Then you have that very long straight, so just about shortening the distance. So as you can see, I stay on the left. Then I will move to the middle of the track, and then I will just go to the right to shorten the distance. And then once I'm on top of the crest, I will move to the left. So for the big braking zone which comes, um, just need to avoid at all cost the dry racing line, because the car is just going to lose all the grip and you will most likely go fully straight into the gravel trap. So yeah, need to go to the left, and then as you can see, when I'm saying to the left, it's to the very left, of course, in the second half of the corner. And then maybe just between there is no 200, so I guess it's going to be 120, 120, I would say. Maybe 125. Then this is where I'm braking. I'm not braking too close from the white line, because if I just basically overshoot the first left, then I will just compromise a lot the exit of the chicane. So yeah, I'm braking quite early. If we are checking delta, this is the big braking, so I'm braking fully basically um on the first part of the braking. So yeah, with the M4 compared to the others, you can brake fully. This car doesn't feel too bad actually when you get into the ABS, even when the car is straight. So yeah, this is maybe one of the only GT4 which feels quite alright, I would say, when you are going fully on the brake. But yeah, as you can see, going fully on the brake at the beginning, but then once I'm getting into the corner, I will just release the brake. Still with third, clipping a bit of grass on the inside. We'll try to stay quite tight into this left one, even if staying too tight means you will lose more speed. So yeah, it doesn't make too much sense actually to get too tight, to exit too tight from this left one, because then actually the grip is not too bad when you are getting close of this curbing on the right one, the right corner of the chicane. So yeah, once again, as you can see, on the brake until I'm getting into the apex. On the apex, going on throttle, trying to make sure I'm not going too wide on the exit of this one. So being quite gentle on throttle, turning to the right, releasing a bit the throttle, trying to avoid the curb on the inside, and then as you can see, trying to really open the steering on the exit, and then I'm just trying to be really kind on throttle. I'm being really patient on the throttle for the exit of this one. So yeah, as you can see, must be this one. So this is the basically the transition between the left and the right. And then as you can see, I'm being really patient, building the momentum on the exit, and then going full throttle when the steering is straight. And yeah, for the dry, if I'm going slightly back, so yeah, I would go maybe at 105 or 110, braking on the racing line on the right. Then I would get quite close from the curb on the right side, and then yeah, it would be exactly the pretty much the same. Just of course you will carry a lot more speed into the left one, because you will come from the right. So yeah, you will carry a lot more speed, but yeah, will be same third gear. And then I don't think it's going to be that different compared to the wet. Of course, maybe you can get a bit closer from the curb on the right, but yeah, it's not going to be so different compared to the wet when you're going for dry. So yeah, then going to the right, trying to shorten the distance up to fourth gear, and then yeah, compared to the dry, where I would stay in the middle of the track, shortening the distance, and then get the curb on the very last corner of the track. this time I would go wider because I want to avoid all of the wet patches. So yeah, I go as close as I can from the white line, trying to avoid the wet and go on the driest part of the track, getting really close of the white line. Just make sure you don't clip the line, because I think it would be a spin. It would end up into a spin. So yeah, just make sure you are close from the white line, but not too close, because yeah, it's going to end badly. And as you can see quite well, I guess, even on the on the video, the difference between these and this line. This line would be what you could use for the dry, but yeah, we are just trying to stay slightly away from that line, keeping quite a bit of a margin, maybe 3 or 4 meters from the curb. And then yeah, just once again trying to manage the throttle, not trying to get too greedy on throttle, lifting a tiny bit, and then once I'm getting past the corner, going fully on throttle. And then yeah, we cross the line. We cross the line from the for the lap. And yeah, last corner on the dry, we would use the cup. So yeah, we are done for the lap around Road Atlanta. Alright guys, so we're done for today. That was the week 4 lap guide of the Falcon Tire Sports Car Challenge. We were at Road Atlanta with the M4 GT4 on wet conditions. I hope you learned from this lap guide, and I hope it's going to be helpful for the coming week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Coach Steph Academy channel and join the Discord server if you have any questions about all the work we're making. And I see you for week 5. See you next time. Bye bye.